Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Professor Dr. Ayaz Rana, Department of Political Science, Public Administration and Public Policy. In this session, we shall discuss the local government with special reference to decentralization. This topic can be segmented in 4 subtopics. Number 1, decentralization, its meaning, kinds, importance, and relations with local self-government. Second, Pakistan political canvas and need of decentralized local self-government. Third, local self-government in Pakistan. Fourth, recommendations for the government of Pakistan. So, decentralization, its meaning. Decentralization refers to the restructuring or reorganization of the authority. Secondly, it is a system of co-responsibilities between institutions of governance at the central, regional, at local and local level. As far as importance of decentralization and its relation with local self-government are concerned, this is very important aspect of this subject. So the decentralization is a worldwide phenomenon. As you know, the decentralization is a worldwide phenomenon which is emerging as one of the best devices for good governance. As far as local government is concerned, so the local government is the vehicle of decentralization which operates as the lowest tier in governmental hierarchy. So it is considered effective and efficient service delivery system. Secondly, vehicle of economic, political and social development. It provides opportunity to marginalized groups or different ethnic group, different racial group in decision-making process at local level. It augments political stability. As you know, so as far as political development is concerned, this is a vehicle of political recruitment, political awareness, political socialization, political training, and interest articulation, interest formulation, interest aggregation, and this provides training of all these things, about all these issues at the lower level by providing opportunity to the people to take decisions about their village, about their district, tehsil, about their city. So this is the best vehicle of political training, and this is also the best device of economic development. And this economic development is about basic needs and basic requirement of the people at the local level. So the decentralization and local self-government are interdependent, are interdependent. So now we will discuss the major types of decentralization. Normally, there are 4 types of decentralization. Number 1, deconcentration of powers. Number 2, delegation of powers. Number 3, devolution of powers. And 4, privatization. Some scholars do not include it in the decentralization process. However, the effective decentralization is through the devolution of power. Fine. As far as deconcentration is concerned, under deconcentration, the central government shifts the powers of decision making to its own local agents, or you can say the powers and responsibilities are tasked to its own local agents. According to it, sometime the central government shifts limited power to elected or nominated representatives of local community. So deconcentration is the fragile form of decentralization. It is a weak form of decentralization. These are power concentrated to their own agents, deconcentrated to their own agents. It shifts administrative tasks and powers from the officials of the central government to those who are working in regions, provinces, or districts. So the second form of the devolution is delegation of powers. Delegation of powers. Delegation is considered as a more extensive form of decentralization. According to the Ferguson and Chandrasekhar, very renowned scholars of the decentralization, they are of the opinion delegation is the transfer of managerial responsibilities. Delegation is the transfer of managerial responsibilities for specified functions to other public organizations outside normal central or provincial government control, whether provincial or local government agencies. For example, local self-government institutions operates in their domains at autonomous bodies with delegated powers and responsibilities. So you can say this was actually in this case during the British period, few powers were delegated to the local government. So these powers can be drawn at any time. These powers can be given at any time. Actually, these are powers of some other actor or some other agencies which are transferred for a time being to run day-to-day business to any rather institution. However, the local self-government institution also sometimes comes under this kind of delegation of power. You can see the other examples. For example, city development authorities, Capital Development Authority in Islamabad, Lahore Development Authority in Lahore, Multan Development Authority, Multan, Faisalabad and Faisalabad Development Authority, sometimes Vasa. These authorities are created under acts and they have powers to operate in the limits of that acts autonomously. These powers are delegated to them. So, and they are accountable about their operations to the provincial government in case of Pakistan and in case of other mechanism would be there. So the semi-autonomous or the autonomous bodies like public sector universities, this is another example of it. The semi-autonomous or autonomous bodies like public sector universities in Pakistan. So these are not wholly controlled by the concerned ministries of the central or provincial government, but they are ultimately they are accountable to them in their majority policies. So this is a delegation of power. This is more comprehensive, more important, more effective than the deconcentration. However, this is also this does not provide the complete autonomous status to the subordinate institutions. So the third form of the devolution is devolution of powers. So as you know, devolution from devolved. This is the most effective. This is the most effective type of the decentralization. Devolution involves participation, and participation in turn leads to search for new forms of association and partnerships between local stakeholders, between new kind of partnership, new kind of stakeholders, new kind of associations, because they have their own powers and they can operate in their domain according to their own rules and regulations, and they have financial powers, political powers, and even legislative power at a limited level. They can impose the taxes, they can collect the taxes. So all these powers are devolved to these institutions. Under this form of decentralization, all financial, administrative, and other powers are permanently devolved at the local level. And these powers cannot be withdrawn at the wish of the officials of the central government. So these powers are devolved through the proper legislation, and sometimes these powers are guaranteed in the constitution of the state. So this is a devolution of power. The fourth type is privatization. Ibtisam Abu Daho has defined privatization as: privatization includes the transfer of powers and functions from government institution to a non-government agency. Privatization includes the transfer of power and functions from government institutions to a non-government agency. So, with privatization, both central and local public representatives are likely to lose direct control over service provisions. Lose direct control over service provisions. For example, in Pakistan, Pakistan Telecommunication Corporation, which has been privatized, the Ministry of Telecommunication, and the government has lost its direct control over it. The other example is Habib Bank, Allied Bank, Arab Fertilizer. Actually, some scholars do not include it in decentralization. Actually, it has the scholars who does not include in the decentralization, they are a bit more realistic. This is a phenomenon because there was a conflict between ideologies in the past. There was communist ideology, which was in favor of public sector agencies, while the other was capitalism. Though capitalism believes in privatization, privatization. So in case of Pakistan, during the People's Party era, which was a mixed type of system, they nationalized a number of heavy units of industry. And when the Ziaul Haq came in power, they revisited the policy of nationalization and they introduced the policy of privatization. According to this, all industrial units which were nationalized by the government, they were privatized by adopting various methods. And still this practice is going on because the government wants to privatize some institutions like PIA and steel industry. But there are so many hindrances in this. So this is a long discussion which is not a topic of today. What is better in privatization and nationalization and denationalization? So there is nationalization, denationalization, privatization, various terms are used in it. In case of privatization, because those institutions which are working in the public sector as autonomous, for example, the Pakistan International Airline, Pakistan Steel Mill, and universities. So the government can privatize them by making any policy at any time. However, so the privatization is not considered. Few of the scholars are not in favor of this. That they don't supplement the idea that the privatization is also decentralization. Fine. So these are 4 kinds or types of decentralization. Now, we already discussed rather meaning, definition, importance, and relations between decentralization and local government. And in second, we discussed various 4 types of decentralization. These 4 types are deconcentration, delegation, devolution of power, and privatization. Now, we will see what is the political, economic, and social canvas of Pakistan, or need for decentralization. So, what is the society, Pakistani political society, social and other issues before the state? The first and foremost thing is, so this is Pakistan is a huge state. Pakistan is a huge state having vast area and large population. It is a fifth country of the world. So Pakistan is not a small state. So those states, which are huge states, they adopted a mechanism to run the state which includes the techniques of layer of government. Techniques of layer of government, local government, provincial government, and federal government. So Pakistan is a huge state. Secondly, it is a multilinguistic, multiracial, multicultural, and multi-ethnic society, which is cemented in one nation by the ideology of Pakistan, which believes in social justice. Hence, people are conscious and demanding equal rights accordingly. So it's a very important characteristics that is this is a land of heterogeneous people. It is a land of heterogeneous people. So you can find different culture in KPK, Punjab, in Sindh and Balochistan. Although these cultural distinctions or differences are not much more, they can be rather. They are not rather conflicting. They are not conflicting. So this diversity demands decentralization. Third, the country is confronting with the serious problem of uneven development and uneven capacities. Different regions, different provinces, different districts, different urban councils, they have uneven capacities, uneven development. So the third, one can find that there are inter-provinces and intra-province, inter-regions and intra-region, inter-districts and intra-district, even inter-tahsil and intra-tahsil, economic, political and social disparities. These disparities are supplemented with the rural and urban inequalities, and intra-urban discrepancies are also there. You can find very posh areas in Lahore. At the same time, you will find there kachi abadis. You can find very posh areas in Karachi, but at the same time, you will find kachi abadis where 7 members of family are living in one room. Even there is not a clean water for these localities, kachi abadis. So this is not a case of Karachi and Lahore. You can find this kind of discrepancies in all the urban areas of Pakistan. On the other hand, regions, you can see far-flung areas of Pakistan like Rajanpur district. Even in central Punjab, Sargodha district, you can find the villages where there's no any clean water for the people, no sewerage system. Even there's not in the trim of the sewerage system. There is shortage of food as well. So these are actually these discrepancies, disparities, inequalities you can find at all level. This is one. The next is some areas also, this is connected to that, some areas are deprived from basic necessities like clean waters, health, shelter, even food. Nutrition is not available to the mothers. In village areas, the children are without milk. So this is a condition. This is a condition of the country at some places. So this uneven distribution of resources is one of the problems. You can find, for example, very big houses. If you see the people who are governing us, you will find very big houses in acres and acres, farmhouses. So, on the other hand, people are living in 7, 8 people are living in one room. So, the country, this is the situation. The other is also very important. The country is suppressed by the scarcity of resources. The country is suppressed by the scarcity of the resources. So, and this problem of meager resources is augmented that a dominant class has captured these meager resources. A class is dominating over all resources because the most of money during Ayub Khan, only 22 families were occupying some more or less 70% resources of the country. At this time, a number of families has been increased. Number of families has been increased, and a big number of people are living under the poverty line, leading a life of under the poverty line. And it is also interesting that the decision-making bodies, our legislature, which is comprised by the elected representatives, the system is so weak that these bodies are dominated by the industrialist and feudal class. These bodies are dominated by those who have. Although the Marxism and socialism is not target of the Pakistan, but the class system has been dominating in this society. Neither Islam allow it and nor other ideologies allow it. This is a sophisticated aristocracy. It is not even democracy. This is a sophisticated aristocracy. So, in this way, all policies formulated by the legislature goes in favor of the dominant class, in favor of political elites, whoever those are. So during the still we are strangulated by the vicious circle of the Gulami. So this is not a time to discuss all these things. However, so this is a situation of the resources in the country. So in this situation where poverty is dancing everywhere, unfortunately, in a specific class, where there is a scarcity of resources, where the parliament is strangulated by a dominant class, where the civil bureaucracy is dominant, where other seen and unseen political stabilizer and political rulers are governing the country, they are not given due consideration to the marginalized people to overcome these. In this situation, the local self-government can be considered the best device to overcome all these things. The local self-government system is the best device of decentralization, which ensures political, economic, and social development at lower level. So, सितारों पे कमंदें डालना लाजम सही, लेकिन सितारों पे कमंदें डालना लाजम सही, लेकिन दहकती धूप में इंसान को छांव की जरूरत है. दहकती धूप में इंसान को छांव की जरूरत है. These are rulers of Pakistan. So, this system, the decentralized local government system, this system has capacity and ability to address the mentioned issues, which are prerequisite for national integration, political stability and development. This country needs equal, and this is not an issue of Pakistan. This kind of situation is confronted by most of the developing nations. Underdeveloped, leave them. Most of the developing nations. So we have to, and this system, local self-government, is working in UK and all developed nations, and basic necessities are addressed there. When the corona came, this exposed the health system of Pakistan, and if they will consider the education system of Pakistan is also at the stake due to the wrong policies of the government, particularly policies which were introduced and implemented during the Musharraf period by Ataur Rahman, that is leading to the collapse of the education system. This will not a time of discussion. However, we will discuss in that side. In the primary school system, up to the higher secondary level, there were colleges, schools of the local bodies. Even during the dispensaries was run by the local councils, and this was situation at that time. At this time, after the 1973, when the schools and colleges were nationalized, so this very important function of the local government has been withdrawn, or something happened like that. So the primary education, secondary education, higher secondary education, this can be effectively run by the local self-government institutions with some proper, well-defined local government system. So this system has capacity to address all these systems, but we need few things now. Debate on decentralization mostly focuses on following issues. When we are going to introduce local government system in some institution, in some country, or when we are going to evaluate the local government system in some country, So we have to see 4 or 5 things: whether the powers, functions, functionaries and financiers are devolved to the local government. So functions, functionaries, finances, how much devolution is adopted in this case? So this must be devolved. Functions must be defined. Functionaries should be recruited, trained, and paid and disciplined by the local self-government institutions. Finances, they must empower to impose the taxes, to collect the taxes, to spend the taxes. They should have a free hand to make the budget and to spend the budget. So there must be some proper mechanism for this. Secondly, whether the local self-government institutions are working as self-governing institutions and service delivery institution of the provincial government. Because in our country, we have a federal system and provincial government, and local government is a provincial matter. We have to see whether these institutions are working as autonomous institutions and they are properly they are operating as service delivery institutions. We have to make them service delivery institutions. So the third, does the system ensures participation to all ethnic groups? The election system, representation system must be so sophisticated that it should provide opportunity to all groups, to all ethnic, linguistic, racial, religious groups who are living in that locality. There must be a devise. Marginalized, laborer, woman. But this system must not be repugnant to the democratic norms. Through the proper democratic system, we should adopt this. And we can hold election according to the services as well. For example, in case of education, we can elect an other body which must be under the local self-government main institution to monitor the educational issues. Next, does the decentralization process is contributing to alter the existing socio-economic and political culture of the respective area? Very important. Very important. Okay, the system, the centralized system, which decentralized or local self-government we created, does that system is contributing to bring the change, social change, economic change, political change in that respective area? It is functioning for the political, economic and social development or not? So this is the these things we have to consider when we establishing any local self-government in any area. Fine. Now, the case of Pakistan. This is the fourth aspect of this lecture. First topic, that was meaning, kinds, types, importance, and relations with the relations between the decentralization and local government. Second, various kinds of local government. Third, political canvas of Pakistan. And fourth, what kind of decentralization is required for the local government. These things we discussed already. Now, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It is in continuation of the previous lecture. So, the local self-government in Pakistan. When Pakistan came into being on 14th August 1947, Pakistan started its journey of the local government with the local board system, which operated till the basic democracy system. So the first system which was introduced by the political leadership of Pakistan in field of local government, that was basic democracy system. This was introduced by General Muhammad Ayub Khan, the then president of Pakistan. So this system was segmented into rural councils and urban councils. Rural councils for the rural areas, while urban councils for the urban areas. So as far as rural councils are concerned, these were there was three-tier system: district council, tehsil council, and union council. So at the end of the ladder. So this was the situation in rural areas, while in urban areas there were town committees, municipal committees, and municipal corporations. So this was the structure of the local bodies or basic democracy system during the Ayub Khan period. So this system was multi-dimensional system, multi-characteristics system. So number one, it was performing as a system of local government. It was electoral college for the President of Pakistan. It was electoral college for the provincial assemblies. It was electoral college for the National Assembly. This was comprised by 80,000 elected representatives, 40,000 from East Pakistan and 40,000 from West Pakistan. So many powers were decentralized in this system, and this system did a lot of work in rural areas, lot of developmental work in rural areas. Roads were made and this and that. So this operated effectively during the Ayub regime. Elections were held and chairman was elected directly by the directly elected representatives of the respective council. So the bureaucracy was given a reasonable share in this system as well. So you can say the budget or finances were ultimately controlled by the deputy commissioner. So the next system, after the Ayub Khan's regime, this system was also ended, and People's Party government tried to formulate a system for the local governance. So this system was People's Council Act. They tried to pass the People's Council Act. So People's Union Councils, People's Urban Councils, so this people's municipality, this kind of nomenclature was given to that, but this was not unfortunately materialized. In July 1977, martial law came and General Ziaul Haq was inducted as the Chief Martial Law Administrator. So he introduced or he proclaimed an act that was called the local self-government system in 1979. This was ordinance actually. This was the ordinance which was passed by the then Chief Martial Law Administrator. So under this system, again, the urban councils and rural councils were created. In rural councils, there was a two-tier system, union council and district council. While in urban council, there were town committees, municipal corporation, and metropolitan corporation. And all were given different kind of powers. This was more decentralized system as compared to the basic democracy system. This system operated 1979 to 1998. So under this system, the election was held in 1979, in 1983, in 1987, in 1991, regularly, because the councils were elected for 4 years under this system. But after this the system was disrupted, and the last election was held in 1998. So this was the condition of the 1979 system. General Musharraf came into power. He established a Reconstruction Bureau to reevaluate the overall administrative system of Pakistan and formulate new system as well. Local government was part of it. This National Reconstruction Bureau was headed by General Naqvi. So National Reconstruction Bureau introduced Devolution Plan, and this Devolution Plan was passed through the ordinance and then through the acts in 2002, and first election was held in 2002 under the system. The important characteristics of this system was that the urban and rural councils were amalgamated in one whole, first time in the subcontinent. According to this, the lowest government was union council, a little government, and then there was Tehsil government and district government. In urban areas, there were towns and district governments were also introduced there. So in this system, the powers were devolved. And during the period, they were empowered to make budget. They were empowered to and MPhil funds were transferred to these organizations as well. So this operated up to 1914. However, elections were held in 2002 and 2008 or 7. So then the new government, which was Nawaz Sharif's government, they passed the Local Government Act 2015. Under this act, the elections were held, representatives were elected, although the minimum powers were given and minimum resources were given, to the local representatives under this system. So, however, the system was there, but this system was removed or abrogated by the new government of the PTI, and they announced to formulate and proclaim a new system. And this act has been passed by the legislature, but there is no election up to now. This is a situation, or this is a you can say the local bodies in Pakistan. So we can say in 1979, the the first was the basic democracy system. So some powers were decentralized it, but it was controlled by the bureaucracy, and it was multidimensional system. So due to the multidimensionalism of the system, it was criticized by the people. So however, it was given by the military general. Local self-government system 1979. This was more decentralized because the chairman and mayors at all levels were elected by the elected representatives. So the Peruvian laborers and women, they were provided positions in this. So Devolution Plan 2002, this was more devolved as compared to the previous systems, and all chairmans and mayors, they were called Nazams, Naib Nazams. They were elected in case of union councils through the direct elections, and in case of district government and by the electoral, and Tehsil government by the electoral college comprised by the Nazams of the union councils, and Tehsil government Nazam of the Naib Nazams of the union council. So powers were devolved in this, it is no doubt. So after when the political government came, Nawaz Sharif's political government came, so the most of the legislative members were not in favor of this kind of decentralization, because they wanted to spend more and more funds through their offices, and other reasons were also there. However, they introduced a new system which is called 2000. This system was 2015. So this was not as much decentralized as was 2002, and presently government is formulating a new system which has been formulated more or less. So in this system, they are planning the election of the mayor by the direct vote of the respective urban council. And we don't know how this would be handled, because this would be a very large constituency, and this election will be on party basis. So this is yet to be implemented. However, for Pakistan, it is recommended. So devolved local self-government system is recommended for Pakistan by considering its political society and composition of political society. So according to this system, all financial, administrative, and other powers must be permanently devolved to the local level, and these powers should not be or must not be withdrawn at the wish of the officials of the central or provincial governments. and this must be this must enjoy the constitutional guarantee. So this is recommendation for Pakistan for the smooth running for this. So this is a list of books and articles. The first, Local Government Finance in Punjab, written by Dr. Ayaz Muhammad, published by Oxford University Press. So there's a chapter, local government, with special reference to the decentralization, and other article by Dr. Ayaz Muhammad, Devolution and Fiscal Governance in Pakistan, Capacity Need to be Addressed. So Economic Journal of Nepal, published in 2008, Raw MV and Minkotiusu. So Panchayats and Building of Border Villages. So and other books are also written in this, so you can check these books. Chinala Bala and Ramulu 2012. So 5 decade of democratic decentralization process in Andhra Pradesh. So these articles and books you can follow, and you can read, you can study for the more study. So thank you very much for listening. So you can ask any question, and you can send that question to the WhatsApp and through other devices. So thank you very much.